What's up, internet people? Ninja Nick 333, and we are back with top 4 of the Arlington Pokemon Trading Card Game Regional Championships. Looks like this time we've got John Ang versus Connor Finton, and it also looks like it's a Lugia mirror. Neither of these players prized anything particularly interesting or important, so we are able to just get right into the match here. Yeah, looks like just Evital on Connor's side. Don't think that'll matter too much because John isn't playing any Pokemon V Max. A couple research from John is probably the only thing that's going to really come up here. He'll be a little less likely to have a consistent start if he doesn't have access to research. My cat is whining. Hello, kitty. Yeah, so it looks like we've got a Snorlax start from Connor. Or no, that's an Oranguru. I thought that was the Trainer Gallery Snorlax for a minute. But nope, that's an Oranguru. Not a terrible start. John does start the Lugia, and since he's going first, that is the optimal start for him. If you're going second in a Lugia mirror, and obviously these players know that it's a mirror going into this match, when you're in top 4, you know what everybody's playing. Even in top 8, you generally know what everybody's playing. But you want to put something like a single prizer like Oranguru up, because that'll force John to potentially take a single prize knockout as his first knockout on his second turn. But looks like John was able to go first. He is going with the Archeops discard off the Quick Ball, because why wouldn't he? I don't know how people draw this well with Lugia decks this consistently, because I sure as heck can't. And he is, of course, prize checking again. Oh, and my music is now screwing up. There we go. So the Manaphy comes down off the Quick Ball. I guess maybe Connor is playing the Raikou, so John would know that and be able to get the Manaphy into play. I don't know if Connor is playing the Raikou or not, but obviously, if he is, it's important to get that Manaphy down as early as possible. And it looks like John just passes from there. I mean, that's pretty much all you really need to do is get an Archeops in the discard pile turn 1. He's going to need another one next turn, and does he not have a supporter in hand? I can't really tell. So maybe those two, no, he does have a Serena and another Archeops. So yeah, this is a pretty fantastic start. So Connor is doing the same thing. He is going to be Ultra Balling, discarding a Boss and a Collapse Stadium to try to get an Archeops. It is a little unfortunate he's not going to start with an Archeops in his hand. Because you would have loved to discard that off that Ultra Ball. Also important to note, he is playing the old art of the Secret Rare Ultra Ball. Used to be extremely expensive. I think it still is at least somewhat expensive now, but I don't think it's as much as it used to be. We also see the nice reverse hollow Diamond and Pearl art for the Quick Ball. He's going to play that. He's got Luminion now grabbed off of that. He is going to use Luminion's ability to search his deck for a supporter card. Looks like he's going to go in for the Marnie. John's hand is pretty strong and has that Archeops being able to be discarded from there. So a Marnie here would actually be pretty stellar, honestly. I think John would only be going down one card in hand, but the fact that he has Archeops and way to discard it, that's pretty good. So if Connor's a mind reader, he knew that it was Marnie time. Looks like we're getting a second Lugia V down as well off of a Capture Energy that was attached to the first Lugia V he benched. Just in case John is able to have some sort of gusting effect, he wants to still be able to have a Lugia VSTAR on the next turn if he only benched one Lugia V and it gets knocked out. going into the next turn, then he has no out to Summoning Star and basically just loses the game right there. So since he's going second, definitely has to have double Lugia in play. He's considering if he wants to Oranguru, and he is going to do the monkey, put that, swap that card on the top of the deck out there, and just pass. And that's all he really needs to do from there as well. So let's see what John's hand looks like now. It looks like a couple of energies and an Ultra Ball and a Quick Ball with that Charizard. That is not ideal. So he's probably going to want to Ultra Ball away the 2 energy cards to get Archeops, and then Quick Ball away the Archeops to get Luminion, and then Luminion to get something like a Professor's Research. It is very unfortunate to have to discard energies, especially this early with the Lugia deck. You know, having that Aurora energy gone is one less out to being able to attack with that Charizard. He is considering his options, what he wants to go for. I think you just go for the... Yeah, I definitely think you go for the Archeops and you discard that. And just hope that off of the research that you're going to get with your Luminion, that you're going to... And that's exactly what he does. You hope to draw into the VSTAR. Because if you get the VSTAR with the Ultra Ball, and then you do research after that, not only are you going to have to discard the Charizard in order to get the Luminion for the research, but you're also going to still need to draw into an Archeops and an out to get it. So it's like basically just asking for one less card, because now you don't have to worry about discarding the Archeops because you already did it. Looks like we get Evo Incense, and that is perfect. That's exactly what he needs to get this Lugia VSTAR out. He is going to put that directly into his hand. And just look through his deck again. Just make sure he knows what's prized. My cat is being weird in the corner. Hello, cat. She's looking at me with her tongue hanging straight out. Such a weirdo. Yep, so gets that Lugia VSTAR. He is going to Summoning Star those 2 Archeops into play this turn. And it's also important to note that he does not have any other Lugias in play. Usually in the Lugia mirror, if you're going first, you want to make sure you only have 1 Lugia. And then you just attack with 1 Prizers after that, or Luminion, in order to shuffle it back in the deck. So he's actually got a pretty stellar start here. The only thing he could really ask for is like a gusting effect, but unfortunately he had to research this turn, so he can't really do that. So if Connor is able to respond by one-shotting this Lugia, it's going to be a bad time for John. So if he plays the V-Guard energy, he's going to want to put that on his Lugia. Or he might just be trying to retreat into the Luminion to take a knockout that way. That would be interesting. You could attack with the Luminion and then put up the mana fee. And then you essentially force Connor into the same situation that you're already in, to where you're being forced to knock out a 1 prizer and you still stay ahead on the prize trade. But it looks like he's reconsidering that. He's going to go for double capture energy onto his Lugia VSTAR. Yeah, if he was to do that play with Luminion, he would have to use a second Primal Turbo to put energies on Lugia that he would then have to discard by retreating. He could still opt to do that now with the second Archeops. He could still try to charge up that Luminion. I think maybe just keeping the Lugia VSTAR active and just hoping that Connor can't get 4 powerful colorless energy, or 3 powerful colorless energies onto his Lugia on this next turn is what you want to hope for here. And even if he does, you can respond by attacking with a single prizer. You can always attack with Charizard and power it up for basically the full energy cost. He only needs 1 double turbo or 1 twin energy, as well as an Aurora energy or the like in order to attack. So if he has like heat fire energy, he could do that as well. I know we saw John earlier, but I don't quite remember the exact counts of his list, because I've seen so many Lugia decks over the course of this tournament, they're all blurring together. So Lugia does take the knockout on that Oranguru. That is going to limit Connor's consistency options now that he doesn't have the Primate Wisdom. He's not going to have the Monkey Thoughts coming in, helping him out. We do see another Ultra Ball. Looks like we're getting rid of, is that maybe a Capture Energy? Yeah, a Capture Energy and a Choice Belt to get an Archeops. And then Quick Ball away the Archeops. And what is he going to get with that? Looks like his hand might be a little dead. If he has another Luminion, he might want to go for that. But then you've got so many, like, bench sitters. Yeah, he is going for another Luminion. Yeah, so now you're going to have 2 bench-sitting Luminion here in a matchup where you just don't want to have a bunch of 2-prizers in play. Yep, he uses that to get the research. And he has the VSTAR. So now he should be able to get 2 Archeops into play perfectly fine with the Summoning Star. And he'll still have a research to be able to draw into some cards. It would be ideal for him to use those Primal Turbos first before the research, so that he doesn't accidentally draw into too many cards. And Sonny, I swear to God, stop scratching my couch. My cat being weird. She's hungry, that's why. It's not dinner time yet. So we do see the research before the Primal Turbos. Looks like he didn't get punished for drawing into any energies, though, so this is perfectly fine. I think maybe he wanted to draw into a powerful colorless energy so that he could use one Primal Turbo to power up the Lugia completely, maybe? I don't know. But he is going to use a second Primal Turbo onto the benched Luminion for just 1 single Capture Energy. Or he already had 2 energies on his Lugia. I must have missed an energy attachment. I see 4 energies on there now. Anyways, either way, perfectly fine. Connor's got the setup that he wants. He is able to one-shot this Lugia V-Star. John Ang does not have a V-Guard energy, so he's perfectly fine. Looks like he has a Choice Belt in hand too, so he can actually respond with a knockout using this Radiant Charizard. It's very odd to see Radiant Charizard being attacking before your opponent goes down to 3 or 4 prize cards taken. But here it is. Yeah, Connor still has 4 prize cards left, meaning the attack cost is only reduced by 2 on the Radiant Charizard. So it's still 1 fire and 2 colorless. And it does not matter because you have Primal Turbo. You can get that charged up in just 1 go. He is going to want to get, looks like he has the Heat Fire and the Twin Energy. So he is going to use those. So he is now attacking for a straight 280 damage onto this Lugia V-Star. So that is perfect math. If he had to put a double turbo on, that would have reduced by 20, and the extra damage from the Choice Belt would essentially not matter because you still wouldn't be able to do a one-shot. We are going to see the second Primal Turbo come out from John. He's probably going to be charging up this Luminion, I would think. Either that, or he's going to go for one of the Archeops. Just to get ahead on energy accelerations. Looks like he's eyeing up doing it for the Archeops because we see 1 powerful and 1 double turbo. So that'll allow him to hit for 120. So looks like just 1 powerful energy is going on there for now. Which is fine. Then on the next turn, it can power itself up with something like 2 captures or a capture and an aurora or something like that, so that you're hitting for 140. I believe, I can't remember what Archeops' HP is exactly, but it is 150, so maybe on the next turn he'll want to get a powerful colorless energy and a non-double turbo energy in order to fully power that up and then gust up Archeops and knock it out. And then that'll put Connor pretty far behind at that point. Especially since John will only need 2 prize cards at that point. But right now, he still needs 3 more. Connor does get the Charizard of his own down here. Yeah, so Charizard does come down. He is going to elect to charge up probably the Luminion here with this first Primal Turbo. And he does. He puts double Aurora Energy on there. This is actually a knockout. The Luminion is able to knock out the Charizard due to the water weakness the Charizard has. And he's also going to be charging up his own Charizard here on the bench. We get one Heat Fire and also a V-Guard. Yeah, so I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, John had prized V-Guard energy, and at this point, it looks like these two might be playing the exact same 60. Because they both have the Heat Fire and the V-Guard energy. And everything, I already remember that John was playing double Luminion. And we see Connor has double Luminion, so they're likely playing the same 60. Connor's just going to check the discard pile here. So he is going to attack with the Luminion. The question is, what does he want to put up after this? I think probably the Lugia VSTAR, honestly, because that can soak up damage from anything that John currently has in play. Another thing that John could do if the Lugia VSTAR does come up is he could potentially charge up a Evital. If he's able to bench an Evital, he can use both Archeops to charge it up and then return KO that Lugia V-Star, and then he only needs one prize after that, which any of the Pokemon he has in play, except for the Manaphy, of course, would be able to do. So those are probably the thoughts going through John's mind right now. Yep, and we do see the attack of the Luminion. He's not going to want to put up his own Luminion, or his second Luminion here, rather. Yeah, he'll want to put up either the Archeops or the Lugia. I think I would personally put up the Lugia, see if I can take a hit with that. Judging by the situation that I'm in currently, you really have to prize race when you're this far behind, but I mean, they're both at the same amount of prize cards, and these players have played way more Lugia mirror matches than I have, so they obviously both know what they're doing. Connor might be also trying to play into a game where he only puts up attackers that are single prizers, hoping that John doesn't have an out to boss's orders in order to win the game, so John would have to go through 3 single prizers. And then by that point, Connor can potentially remove both the Archeops and the Luminion from play. It's easier to Serena up a Luminion than it is to boss up something else, but if John just has a Serena or a boss, which I think I do see a boss in his hand, he might be able to just boss up that Luminion and take a knockout, and then Connor is basically at game loss at that point. Yeah, it looks like we are thinning an Archeops out of the deck. And these players are playing relatively fast. We still have 57 minutes left, and game 1 is about to be over. But I do think that it is currently looking like, as long as that is a boss in hand for John that I did see, then I do believe that he's just like already won the game. Because he has, look, as you can see, he has 3 powerful energy on his Archeops right now. So he's doing, he is doing 180. So the Luminion's damage numbers are definitely here. Definitely here. You only need to do 170. You got 180 on there. Yeah, that's the Cyrus art of the boss's orders. Yep, so that comes out. And at that point, I would just scoop, because I don't think I would be able to... Yeah, I don't think I would be able to come back from that at that point, just because I'm too far behind on the prize race. I mean, you could still keep chaining attackers like the Charizard out, but... Or I guess he could put up the Lugia and just hope that John doesn't have yet another boss's orders. Yeah. But also, if John is able to, say, power up an Evital again, that Evital comes out, then he could just one-shot this Lugia and not need boss's orders. So the fact that he had to boss instead of Serena there for John might end up coming up, because that's one less boss option. Serena can't bring up a single prizer. So it looks like we are seeing the Primal Turbo here from the first Archeops is going to get Capture and Double Turbo. And then we're going to likely immediately see a follow-up. It's fine putting the Double Turbo on the Lugia here. The damage reduction doesn't really matter. You're one-shotting Archeops either way, and you're also one-shotting Luminion either way. I believe even through the V-Guard energy. Yeah, it looks like he hard attaches Capture for turn, so he hasn't used the second Archeops yet. He is considering if he wants to put down another Lugia. I mean, I think at this point... Yeah, so now... Yeah, I think that there's no reason not to do that. Because... he can't just, John can't just easily one-shot that with, like, the Archeops. Especially since all those powerful energies are down now. Looks like Stoutland was drawn for turn. John's like, that's a crap card, I can't use that right now. But yeah, I think that the play right now is if he has enough energy left in deck, can he... Well, actually, no, he can't Evital, because he did get one of his Archeops knocked out. So Evital is not an option here. If he has any Pokemon recovery, he might want to go in for the Charizard again. But other than that, yeah, it looks like Connor might be swinging it back. He's going to have to attack with the Luminion here and put up Manaphy. Let the Manaphy get knocked out. He's also going to want to put up some other kind of attacker, maybe like a... If he has the Snorlax, maybe? Put the Snorlax down. But I don't think he has the Snorlax. I do see the Evital there. Yeah, I actually don't see a way out for John now. This is actually really interesting, because if Connor just has a boss, he'll be able to win. Because that Luminion's going to shuffle itself into his deck. And if he doesn't, Connor wins. It's amazing to see how close this is, and I'm surprised that Connor was able to pull it out from here, because it looked like all game that John was just so far ahead. But John's board state is just not very good right now, where it was so funny that early game, Connor had a really bad board state in comparison. Looks like we are going to see the Path to the Peak and a Research. It's just, I think you just need another single prize attacker down on the board. So he has the Evital, he can probably bench that. I don't believe he's attached for turn yet. So if he has one in his hand, he could always do that, and that might help him get up to the energy cost that he needs, but I just don't think that he might not have enough energy left in his deck to be able to attack with the... Well, he's going to shuffle those two Aurora energies back in, so he'll probably have enough energy, but it's just, is he going to have the double energy? So yeah, this is a very close game, and it really just comes down to who has what in their hand. Yeah, John now has the boss's orders in hand, but he had to play Research to get to that point. So he's going to shuffle this Luminion back in. He's going to put up the Evital and hope to God that Connor doesn't have boss, and he draws it for turn. So now John has no way to charge up that Evital or have any sort of attacker. So that is game. Connor Finton wins game 1. Man, that came out of what felt like nowhere. It was really close until right at the end. Absolutely amazing. But that's just how Lugia mirrors end up going. So we're going to go right into game 2. Looks like both players have one Archeops prize. Looks like John prized that V-Guard energy again, along with a double energy. And John is going to be going first yet again. He did lose the first game, so he is opting to go first in the second game. Again, whoever goes first in the Lugia mirror is the preferred winner, essentially. You are able to get the first attack off, you're able to get the first Summoning Star off. Looks like Connor did start the Raikou. So, maybe they aren't playing the same 60, because I'm fairly certain that John is not playing the Raikou. But it's interesting to see that they're both playing the Heat Fire Energy. So we see the Archeops come out from the Ultra Ball, the Quick Ball getting rid of the Archeops. We are going to see, what are we going to see here? He has one Lugia already. He is going first, so he probably does not want to get a second Lugia V down. So, probably a Rangaroo, if he has that option in his deck. The Charizard is probably the next best option, so I do see him eyeing that up. He's also got the Dunsparce there. Of course, needs that Dunsparce because of the Raikou there. I do know for a fact that John was not playing Dunsparce in Toronto, and that acquaintances of mine who was playing Zorobox did go up against him, and if they had played it out, definitely would have won against John. But stupidly offered the ID when they were 6-0. So, and John's like, yeah, I'll take that. I'm not gonna lose to a matchup that I could easily win. Yeah, I'm not gonna lose a matchup when I can just ID. Are you kidding me? Dude thought John Ang was on Lost Box for some reason. Pretty sure he's only been playing Lugia the entire time that Lugia has been legal. So we see the Ultra Ball come out, discarding a Pumpkaboo and a Double Turbo Energy. Hopefully that Double Turbo Energy does not come back to bite him at some point. Looks like the sticker on his hat came off a little bit, so he has to make sure that that is firmly affixed because we can't advertise anything on the Pokemon streams. That's usually why they give out those stream shirts, is because they want to make sure that there's no logos on your shirts. They don't want to have to, I don't know, pay royalties or something. I don't know. They don't want to be affiliated with anything, but yet they allow people to show their tattoos off now, so I don't really see the point of covering up the logos on hats and things, because it's the same difference, in my opinion. But that is a tangent that would go on forever if I were allowed to continue talking about it, so we will move on. He gets the Research out after attaching a powerful colorless energy. There's so many words in these card names. Evo Incense comes out now. Probably getting another Archeops to discard. Yep, and then there's the Quick Ball to discard that. So he does have two Archeops in the discard pile, the perfect turn one for him. And again, since he's going second, he wants to get that second Lugia V onto the bench in case the first one gets gusted up and obliterated. Although I think that the Raikou is probably the biggest threat here right now. So if John can get the knockout on that, he won't have to bench the Dunsparce during this game. But if he instead goes for a gusting of the Lugia, then he's going to want to get that Dunsparce into play. It looks like he does have Manaphy as well. So that's the thing with this deck is when you have the Raikou in one of the decks, you're going to want to bench both the Dunsparce and the Manaphy. But it looks like he's discarding the Manaphy with the Research. He's got another Archeops in the discard now here. So he's definitely going to want to remove that Raikou from the from play. Getting the Archeops from the discard pile with Summoning Star, he's going to be charging up his Lugia and taking the knockout on that Raikou, not needing the Dunsparce or the Manaphy in play this game. So good for Connor for starting it, because it's not a two-prizer that's being knocked out to make John go up increasingly in prize card count. But unfortunate that it had to be exactly Raikou instead of something like Orangaroo, because now you don't have the lightning weakness option as something you can hit with a single prizer. And you're going to have to rely more on the Charizard and the Yveltal in order to remove these Lugias from play. looks like we have 2 powerful colorless and now 2 capture energies on this Lugia VSTAR. Due to a primal turbo here. John hasn't used his second one yet. He could always start charging up the Evatol on his bench with a second one. But since you have 2 Archeops available to you, it's probably better to just leave it like that. And he does take the knockout with the Lugia. So now what Connor can do is, just like before, these Lugia mirrors always play out very similarly. He's going to want a Summoning Star, 2 Archeops out. He's going to want to get a bunch of powerful colorless energy onto his dude so that he can one-shot this Lugia VSTAR on John Ang's side. And of course, since John just so happened to prize V-Guard energy both games here, it's actually not looking ideal for him right now. And it looks like the judges are very touchy with this match for some reason. I know it's always good to make sure that all of the stuff is in sight, but literally all they have to do is just like make a line around the table as to where the camera shows, and then the players can like police whether or not it's shown on stream on their own and not have to be bothered by the judges. But Pokemon would rather have the table be circular for some reason. So we have, looks like the double Archeops coming into play. We are going to see the charge up. We've got powerful colorless energy ×3, capture energy ×1 on it, and a capture energy on your benched Luminion as well. So again, that 3 powerful colorless energy is going to be enough to one-shot a Lugia VSTAR that does not have a V-Guard energy on it. And the Marnie comes out as well to disrupt John's hand. So this is actually looking pretty good for Connor, even though he did go second. He was able to start a 1-prizer and is able to take the first 2-prize knockout. So he is actually ahead on prizes right now. Of course, John can always respond with a knockout with this Evatol, but that is something that can be easily removed from play using the Luminion even as an attacker, or either of the Archeops. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this goes here. Looks like he is just eyeing up the attack with the Evatol. I mean, that's pretty much all that you have available to you right now, unless you want to attack with a Archeops. So he is using the first Primal Turbo, getting Heat Fire and double Turbo. He is going to use the second one, probably getting a couple Auroras. Just looking through his deck again to make sure that he prized the cards that he did. And yep, there is the double Aurora energy as well. Yep, so he'll be able to take a 2-prize knockout here, going back up in the prize trade. So John will be at 3 prizes and Connor will be at 4. Connor will be able to knock out that Evatol coming in though, and then John only has Archeopses available to attack with, while Connor has a couple of Lugia. So according to the board state that we have right now, it is looking a little favored for Connor here. As you can see from their records as well, Connor has 0 losses. He's actually 12-0-4 over the course of the whole tournament. And John is 12-1-3, so John actually does have 1 loss on his record. But otherwise, these players haven't lost. If Connor is able to win this match, he'll go to 13-0-4, which is absolutely absurd to not have any losses on your record at this point. Sometimes players even have 2 losses at this point as well, and you just have more wins as well than the ties. But yeah, looks like we get the quick ball from the Lugia, discarding a Lugia VSTAR here. He does not need that. He already has another one on his bench. He is going to try to take the knockout on the Evatol using the Luminion V. And we do see he's quick balling for that Charizard, which is an amazing 1-prize attacker for him here. He's even going to put the V-Guard energy on it just for, you know, poops and giggles here. Going to play out another quick ball, getting rid of another Lugia that he does not need. Looks like he's getting another Luminion, so he can potentially just loop those. And he's going to Serena up the Lugia. Oh, he's going to take the knockout with the Charizard this turn. Yeah, so Evital will be able to take the knockout going into the next turn, but since Connor's going to be... Now Connor will be ahead on the prize trade. And he'll have another Lugia VSTAR here on the bench. If John Ang doesn't have something like a Serena of his own or a boss, the matchup is back in Connor's favor. You can just see this matchup keep swinging like a pendulum back and forth for both players. It would have almost been better for John to not bench that Lugia, but he really had to. He needed another option for an attacker after this Evital gets knocked out. But Connor was just able to punish him with the Serena. So I'm not sure what else John can really do here. He's going to need to get, yeah, that Charizard into play. He's going to need to Choice Belt that and get an Aurora or something on that. He's already devoted 3 of his potential fire energy to that Evital, but it looks like he has 1 in hand anyway, so he's going to be able to get that powered up. The Charizard is able to attack this turn as well, so as long as he has a gusting effect, he can bring up the Lugia, knock it out with the Evital, and then be able to knock out anything that Connor has in play with the Charizard after that. So it's still anybody's game, surprisingly. We do see a Primal Turbo going on to the one Archeops. The other one has a Capture Energy on it, so he has the potential to attack with either one of those. Every single one of his one prize Pokemon in play is able to attack. So as long as he can just draw into enough of the gusting options. It looks like they're having a discussion on whether or not he either double attached or used 2 Archeops already. Did he attach the Capture this turn? I think he might have. I think he might have attached the Capture Energy this turn and then attached the Aurora Energy. Oh boy. Let's go back. Let's look at that. Let's make sure. Well, actually, they're just gonna... They already have a handle on the situation. I would love to go back and see, but I did miss it. So, look, yeah, so it looks like he already attached for turn. It was that Capture Energy. I did miss that. So he did attach a second energy for turn on that Charizard, and he had to put the Lugia VSTAR that he had discarded for the Aurora Energy back into his hand, and now he's using the second Primal Turbo to put an Aurora Energy from his deck onto the Charizard. So it looks like that must have just been a warning, because that was easily reversible. But normally something like that is a 2 prize card penalty, and if that went into effect, Connor would have won just there. So it's a good thing the judges caught that when they did, because otherwise John would be, you know, pretty shit out of luck in this match. And he needs everything going for him at this point. Connor is able to charge up this Luminion. Yeah, and it looks like John wasn't able to have a gusting effect either, so he had to just knock out that Charizard. So now he's going to lose his Evital by way of Luminion, and then he's going to have to hope and pray that he has Choice Belt to respond to... He's going to have to have Choice Belt and gusting effect in order to knock out one of these two prizers that are on the bench here. And that's John's only win condition. And since there are no 2 prizers in play, Connor does have to take a knockout this turn and next turn. He's more than capable of doing that already. Looks like he does remove the Luminion from play using the Collapsed Stadium, which is actually exactly what Connor needs, which forces the fact that John needs a Choice Belt now, as opposed to before he just needed, John just needed a gusting effect to bring up the Luminion, but now he needs the Choice Belt specifically, otherwise the Charizard is not going to be doing enough damage. But yeah, that is John's only win condition, is to have the gusting effect. So that Luminion is coming down, shuffling in a whole bunch of energy back into the deck, obviously putting up that Archeops. He has an easy way to just retreat and go into the Lugia in this next turn, potentially, to just take a knockout on anything that has anything that's on John's side of the field. So John is going to put up something that he can easily retreat and hope that he can just get into. It looks like he has Boss, but does he have Choice Belt as well? And I don't see the Choice Belt, so I don't think that John can win this game. Yeah, I think this is all lost for John at this point. Because no matter what, if he bosses anything up, Connor can just retreat it with his 2 Archeops. Even just 1 Archeops. If he was to take the knockout on the active, the Lugia comes up, and we saw he just shuffled 4 energy cards back into his deck. With 1 Archeops in play, that's all he needs in order to make that Lugia VSTAR attack. So it looks like John has just lost here. He's lost 2-0. So we'll just continue watching and make sure that that's exactly what happens. But if John had the Choice Belt here, he would have won. So it always just seems like this matchup for these players just comes down to 1 card being short. He prized the V-Guard energy both games, and he just does not have the Choice Belt on this particular turn now. Yeah, it looks like he's going to boss up the Evital, but we saw there's 4 energies that just got shuffled back into Connor's deck. So there's the 2 to retreat the Evital and the 2 to power up the Lugia. And that is the game. Oh, and he has Birdkeeper anyway. So yeah, John knew as soon as the hit came to his turn. He was just hoping that there was some out, but there really wasn't. So Connor ends up winning this one 2-0, and he advances on to the finals. So good for him. I'm not sure if they have a second top 4 match. Sometimes they do 2 top 4 matches, especially since they only played 2 Swiss rounds on the stream so far, but judging by the amount of time that is left on this clock, it looks like it's most likely just the finals left. So I will see you guys then. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe if you're enjoying all of these regional re-commentary things that I've been doing. The social links down below to all the Discords and the Twitters and whatnot as well. And follow me on Twitch, where I do streaming stuff sometimes as well. So I will see you guys in the next one.